Okay, so hey guys, we're in Boston. Hey guys, we're in Boston doing the Freedom Trail. It's one of the things in Boston. It's man, I think. It's a giant man. See? Look, giant man. Very giant man. Giant man, I think. Giant man.
What is it? What?
Giant man. If you can see it. Okay, so right now we're just getting to the visitor center, and then we're going to the Freedom Trail. Say hi, Colin.
Alright, so this is my straw, and if I put this to the setting where I can drink it, I bite this.
Good job. Okay, so this is that. Okay. So we're just doing. This is not the Freedom Trail yet. This is just the visitor center of the Freedom Trail. Okay. Ready? Go. Go. Okay, say hi. Hi. Okay. Hannah. Get you. Ooh, yo, bus. Yo, bus. This is the visitor center, guys. Visitor center.
Yes, sir.
Owen. Hi, Owen.
Oh, you're
Owen?
filming a YouTube video?
This channel. Content. Visitor center.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, visitor center. See?
Hold on.
Picture.
And we got. Yeah.
Picture. See? Open visitor center. See? It's information center. There's a Dunkin', there's McDonald's. Okay. There's Logan. Good job.
Do that when you let's see how much when you
Okay. Good job, Tana.
every single one.
Hannah,
I'm spending every single part. That's it for now.
stop.
Dad,
I like you.
it did start.
It is started.
It
Yeah.
started at 2 minutes 40 seconds ago.
Good job.
I know I had to leave.
Right now, we're just in the visitor center. Right now, we're at in front of the visitor center.
And
We're just waiting, and we're going on the Freedom Trail. So this is going to be a long video. Because the Freedom Trail is at least 3 hours long. Very long.
yeah, we have a tour guide. It's gonna be 3 hours.
We have a tour guide. And this video is going to be amazing. So if you can't go, you can at least watch it visually. Okay. Good. Okay. Now. Okay. Hey, Anthony, say hi. Hey, say hi, Anthony.
Hi.
And what rank are you?
First class.
Blyce? Say hi, Blyce.
I'm gonna be star soon.
Say hi.
Hi.
Here, I don't want to hold this.
Good. Luca, say
Hey, y'all.
say hi, Luca. Luca, say hi. Hi. Sorry. Good at it. Good job, Ben. Yeah. Bad. Okay.
Are you gonna post me on your YouTube channel?
Bad.
Are you? Did
I
you
guess.
subscribe to your own YouTube channel?
Yes.
You should shout me out.
Yeah.
I'm saying hi. I don't give you consent.
What?
I subscribe to your YouTube channel.
Good job.
I subscribed as well.
Yeah, you should all like and subscribe to this video.
Hi.
I can subscribe to Lucas for 10,000 cookies.
I don't have to have. Okay, Blyce. Okay. So this is Blyce.
What's up, YouTube?
That's Owen. Vlog.
Everyone go and subscribe to the official Under Lucas. This is a new video. I hope you
You
guys enjoy.
subscribe right now, you get 10 years of good luck. 5, 4, 3,
spider will
2,
be in your bed
1.
tonight.
Uh-oh.
I'm not gonna. I can't edit a picture of a spider, but it's fine.
Ooh, look at the spider.
Everyone subscribe so that
So I can get paid.
Lucas can make better videos.
Do it. I would subscribe so you can get paid and get better film quality.
Got it. Better film quality. Yes. Want.
Also, we're right now. Lucas, show around.
I did. I've been. Sebastian. So there's Dunkin', McDonald's, building, other building. There's glass. There's a tank. Hence, there's the tour guide, I think.
What the heck is that statue?
Man. Good job, Tim. Say good. Okay.
Yeah, basically.
Colin, say hi, Colin. Good job. Colin, say hi.
Good old Mr. Mental.
Colin, say hi. Phil, say hi. Say something. Link. Okay, that's okay. Good job, Tina. I can record it. I'll be in my own video.
I haven't either. I only play like City. Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
I could pay.
This is first person view, so this is what I'm gonna see. So whatever you see, I see. So you won't see me, Lily. So I'll have might have a cameraman at some points of this.
If I'm told it's all falling, so I try to see at the top of my head. Get my paper.
Troy, before we start to head off, should probably do a quick attendance, do a screen falling, maybe falling over here, just to kind of make sure everybody's here.
What's the plan afterwards? Just in terms of, when are we going to be heading out?
There's another guide's coming for 9:45. It starts at 10. So, once the tour guide's here, it's just follow along and listen to our thing. So, all I was responsible for was getting you guys here. So,
Well, you're not doing it?
Cool.
no, I'm going.
I'm not going to.
Bad.
What volume should I use? Troop 11, fallen. There you go.
Wait.
Yeah, we're falling in. I can't.
Next, Freedom Trail guided tour. Here at 10 o'clock. Tickets are available in the visitor center for the next along the Freedom Trail departing from
This is not a good
10 o'clock. Guided tour
spread out. Square.
to Freedom Trail. Tickets available in the visitor center. Well, the next tour will sail here at 10 a.m.
When I stay
Okay, go back to your
Logan Baxter. Tim Clark. Bryce Dennis. Colin Sargent. Joseph Bencourt. Michael King. Travis Baxter. Owen Clark. Logan Forge. Lucas Massaro.
Here.
Eric Cordieri. Luca Engel. Alexander Mayer. Phil Coleman. Griffin Black.
Here.
Eric Viola. Ethan Kowalski. Joseph Taylor.
Got ran over by a car.
Alright.
No, Joseph Taylor got.
We're gonna be leaving soon, so just don't be too loud and crazy because we are in a city. So,
Yes, it's fine.
Fallout. Don't go anywhere.
Stay. Be good, everyone. Boat. You see? Boat. Deck boat. Deck boat. Bad. Colin whipped his poncho. Bad.
Boat.
Bad.
Boat.
Good.
That's a good deal.
Boat. Good job.
I won't travel without a map.
Oh, there's a bus. Are the kids gonna get off it? There's a bus here. Bus. Bus. It's a bus.
I'm the bust.
Oh, we should get a map. Did you get me a map?
Committed to that poncho. I like it.
Wait, Spice. Hold up the map.
Where's the map?
Map. Hold the map.
Where's true north?
Why?
Is one side Spanish?
No, I'm not telling you.
Where is it?
What's the difference?
Well, don't tell me then. Then if it's not YouTube, why don't tell
Which
me?
side is Spanish and which one is it?
Where is it?
Where
Where is it?
This one's English.
This one's English.
That one's
They're the exact same.
the exact same.
What's the difference?
What's the difference? I don't know. Maybe one's just colored, one's not colored.
The
One's pink, one's white. Or gray.
What's the bloody difference?
I think they might be different, but I can't tell.
What's the difference?
Maybe you
Okay.
should get a map.
Turn it over.
This is very. Okay.
Transportation lines. Location.
Those are transportation lines, guys. Transportation lines.
Transportation lines.
And then this is just a general map.
General map.
General map. Right.
Wait, where are they?
Inside. Ask them for the free map of Boston.
I thought they were costing money.
No, it's the tour one. Costs money. Not a normal map.
Then you work with people.
Or am I being
Okay. You guys hear that, guys?
You have work with
We believe in me. When I went in here. Show. Oh, beep. Good job, Joe.
Sigma's on.
Okay. What's your opinion on this?
It's pretty cool, man. I haven't been in Boston in years.
Good.
No.
Troy, what's your opinion?
Little challenge in my smart.
Hey, help me! Help!
Dad, stop. Troy, what's your opinion on this camp? What's your opinion on this camp out?
I don't know. It looks like a cool camera.
No, what's your opinion on this camp out? On this camp out?
Child I found in my collection.
Yes, on this camp out.
Alright, what
This
time
little
is
child
it?
is in my collection.
What's your opinion on this camp out?
We're gonna be like
Yo, this is the best camp out ever. And you want to see more of stuff like this? Subscribe to the official Undead Lucas for 10 more years of good luck, and so you can go on a camp.
Good job.
Also, subscribe or I'll hunt you down and kill your family.
I will literally assassinate.
Wait, I need to make a separate channel just dedicated to Boy Scouts because
It's like you have your main channel, which you put
You
like
got
the Green
Lucas
of Time
Undead,
on.
and then you
Like,
got
do a-
the Lucas. The Lucas Undead.
good job, man. Okay.
The official Undead Lucas Scouting.
Yes, fish on the Lucas Scouting. Sounds good.
Wait, can I? Oh, I'm gonna record for a second. I'm gonna be your cameraman.
Okay.
All right, guys, look at the scenery. We are in Boston currently on a camp out with the Boy Scouts and the official Undead Lucas. Everyone subscribe so that you can hopefully one day be in a place like this and have a really great time. And I'm handing you back to Lucas. Here you go.
Yes, good job. Good job. Good job.
Hey!
Okay, we're just waiting.
Where'd my pen go?
We're waiting for our tour guide. That's at 10 o'clock in the morning, 10 a.m. on May 18th, 2024 at 10 a.m. That's when this is recorded. Oh well, that's when the tour is gonna start. So if you're watching this, I might not upload.
Tour along Boston's historic Freedom Trail departs from here at 10 o'clock. Tickets are available inside the visitor center for the next guided tour along Boston's historic Freedom
See?
Trail.
Did you hear that?
Tours are 90 minutes long and come the first
Oh, 90 minutes long. It's only 90 minutes long. That's not too bad. But we're getting lunch though after. So you hear that, guys? This video's only gonna be 90 minutes. Oh, sorry. 90 minutes long.
Let me see the camera.
It's only 90 minutes long.
Guys, we found the rare, the rare potato bird. Everyone subscribe to have this potato bird in your house. Hey, the potato bird, live long, live free. And subscribe to the official Undead Lucas.
Okay. Okay.
Lucas, please stop recording me. I'm extremely uncomfortable right now.
Lucas, do you edit your videos?
Yo, are we getting the guy with the sword? Please tell
What do you see?
You
Me?
need to edit your videos.
I'll record like this, so you're just.
No, so when you're recording yourself, you gotta hold it like, hold up.
Oh, why did you turn the flash on? Why did you turn the flash on? Why is the flash? I don't need the flash on.
Do you edit your videos?
No,
Let me give you a good editing site, alright?
I don't need to edit. I like
No,
vlog.
you need to edit.
Why?
Because no one's gonna subscribe if you don't edit.
Fine. Luca, what's your opinion on this camp out?
Is this your size?
Yeah, because it's
Guys, we're doing a group picture.
Okay, let me pause it. Intro guys. You see intro
Not a pirate.
Intro. See? Look at the intro. Is it moving? That's moving. It's an intro.
Alright guys, look what we found. We found a wild inchworm in the city streets of Boston.
That is crazy. That's the most craziest thing I found today.
Have you ever seen an inchworm before in Boston City, Griffin? That is so wild.
And it's
Yo,
so wild that it's more rare than the chupacabra itself.
Yeah, you guys need to subscribe
Inchworm.
to get more content like this.
Actually, his name's
Subscribe to the official.
Lucas.
Wormy.
His name, what should we name him? His name is Wormy.
Good Wormy.
His name is Wormy.
Good job, Wormy.
He doesn't have a name.
The name is Wormy.
Once we name him, we can never get rid of him.
He's a ghost. One more time. Okay, we're back. We're just taking good pictures.
Holy smokes.
The intro's on.
Guys, let's pay attention, please.
Okay, this way. Walk this way, okay. Okay, walk.
This is gonna be the greatest day of my
Let's take a walk. Why? Is it because I'm making a video? Let's take a walk this way, guys. Walk this way.
following the Renaissance soldier.
You need to edit your videos and make a thumbnail.
Alright, folks, like and subscribe if you want to see more worm content.
Nope, we have to
I
walk.
can be your video editor.
Okay, good
But
job.
as soon as you start making revenue, you guys can get 5 cents.
Got it.
Go over you.
Yeah. Okay. So we have. Wait. Travis, show them the questions. Can you show them the questions? Who has the questions? Luca, can I see your clip one for a second?
Yeah.
We have to answer questions on the Freedom Trail to get a patch in the middle. So there's a lot of walking involved. So right now we're doing. Yeah. Right here. Right now we're right here. Okay.
Morning, troop.
Morning.
Welcome to Boston. First time? Been
Yeah.
here before? Yeah. Okay, good. Or bad, depending on how it goes. Welcome to Boston yet again. My name is Captain Daniel Malcolm. Not Mr. Daniel Malcolm, Captain Daniel Malcolm. And I am not a pirate. I know, the Lord knows, I look like one. And I do think like one. And if you ask the French, I are one. But I am not. I am what's called a privateer. I have a license from the British government here in the Massachusetts Bay. It's called the Letter of Marque. And it authorizes me, Captain Daniel Malcolm, to cruise against French vessels during the French and Indian War. French vessels only. If I go after anybody else, any other nation's ships, that's an act of piracy, and that is against the law. So that makes me a righteous, honorable, upstanding, law-abiding privateer, and not a dirty, rotten, lousy, filthy, stinking criminal pirate. That's my early career back in the 50s. I reached my zenith in the 60s here in Boston, when I switched sides entirely and become one of the most politically active people in Boston. What my father used to call a real political bomb thrower. I am a member of the group known as the Loyal Nine, the precursor to the group known as the Sons of Liberty, the main group that plots and plans against the British here in Boston. On a side note, I'm also one of the best smugglers in town. I can say that now because I'm retired, but in my day, I am one of the very best. Everybody knows Dangerous Dan delivers. That's me. And I am very good at what I do. The British never could catch me. Good enough that in my last act, I really wanted to shine the British on. So I wrote in my will, bury me in a stone coffin 10 feet down to be safe from British bullets. I am buried in a brick coffin 10 feet down, and I am safe from British bullets. But my gravestone is not. During the Battle of Bunker Hill, June 17th, 1775, British soldiers used my gravestone for target practice. We will see my grave if the burial ground is open, and you will see my stone, and you will see it has bullet holes in it. 4 British bullet holes. They couldn't catch me in life, so they shot up my grave in death to take their small, tiny, petty, little revenge upon me. It's the best they could do. What Father used to call small beer. So that's my story in a nutshell. But that's not where the story really begins. Our story really begins right here on Boston Common, America's first and oldest public park since 1634. Picture, if you will, a peninsula, surrounded on 3 sides by mudflats. I have a map. I will now do what they call in film the slow pan.
Special.
Good, just looked at my name. Boston is. Am I holding that the right way? Yeah, okay. Boston is a peninsula, connected to the rest of the continent by that strip of land called the Boston Neck. And when that floods at high tide, Boston becomes an island. This peninsula is known as the Shawmut Peninsula, named for the Shawmut Native Americans who occasionally visited this place. Archaeological evidence found on the common a few years ago has proven that the Native Americans were here 3,000 years ago. So if anybody can lay claim to Boston Common, to the Shawmut Peninsula, to Massachusetts Bay, it's Native Americans, hands down. Shawmut, of course, is the Native American word for place of living waters, big freshwater spring. The Massachusetts Native Americans, looking at this place from the south, call this place Massachusetts, which means place of the great hill. And they called it exactly right. Meadows and mountains. They really were mountains. But not the Shawmut nor the Massachusetts wanted to call this place a permanent home. Native Americans knew lousy real estate when they saw it. So they took off. But one man thought it was a paradise. Our first European settler, William Blackstone, or Blackston as the case may be. And he came ashore to this place, looked around, and said, yes! It's awful. No one is ever going to want to live here but me. And that's just great. Just me and my library, farm, peace and quiet, and no neighbors. Chef's kiss, beautiful. But it just didn't last. So in the 1630s, William Blackstone got neighbors, about 400 of them, all at one time. And these are the English religious separatists who are seeking their religious freedom away from the persecutions of the Anglican Church in England. The newcomers to Boston are the Puritans. But William Blackstone does not want Puritans for his neighbors because he's a minister of the Anglican Church. And Puritans hate the Anglican Church. So there is no way this is ever going to work out. So William Blackstone sells the whole thing, 50 acres, to the town of Boston for 30 English pounds. And in your money, that's about $50,000. $50K for all of this. It is the very last time Boston will ever get a deal on real estate. But after that, this becomes the common ground for the common man, like you, like me. This is where everybody comes to graze their cattle, perfectly legal to do to this day. If you are a legal resident of Boston, and you pay your taxes, and in the unlikely event you own a cow, living with you in your condo, I guess, you may legally graze it here on the common. Perfectly legal to do to this day. This is where the women come out and do their sewing circles. Social event. Perfectly legal to do to this day. This is where the militia does their drilling and training. Perfectly legal to do to this day. And this is where the gentlemen will come to settle their questions of honor and fight their duels to the death, which is not perfectly legal to do to this day and has been illegal since 1649. Just missed. Things take a darker turn in the 1760s here, though, you know, when this place becomes the home of the British Military Occupation Force of Boston. 2,500 British soldiers live here on the Common, but we of the Sons of Liberty are watching every move they make. And on the night of April 18th, 1775, we're going to watch the British make their move into history. You look out in the distance, and you see the yellow line atop the chain link fence, way out there. There goes a car going by. Just saw it, okay. That's Charles Street in my time. But in 1775, that is the Charles River over there. That is our shore. All that surrounds us is landfill. So we're going to watch the British launching their boats, head across the Charles, through Lechmere to Lexington and Concord. Lexington and Concord. And that will go down in history as the battles of Lexington and Concord. Not imaginatively named, but aptly named. It's supposed to be a secret mission. But by the time the British get their feet wet over there, a middle-aged Bostonian silversmith by the name of Paul Revere is already riding down the road into history. So before the game is even started for the Redcoats, it's already over. And we're going to have a little something waiting for them when they get up to Lexington a little later that night. But more of that later. Instead, we examine the building at the top of Beacon Hill. But we are not going to climb all the way up there to see it because that's too much work. We are going to do it the American way and look at it from the bottom of the hill instead. So we're going to take a walk that way. And remember, my name is Captain Malcolm. And if you have a question, please do hesitate to ask. This way.
Please hesitate to ask. Please do hesitate to ask. This is a good guy.
Okay, here we are. No, I'm just kidding a little.
This is gonna be key. If we have to stop like this, if the stops are gonna be like this long for each stop.
This better go some country
This is what we want right here.
Sure, in Oregon. When they have them.
Right through the gap. At the top of the hill, that is the home of our legislature, the new State House of Massachusetts. And it is called the new State House of Massachusetts because it was built in 1795. New. Built at a cost of $133,333.33, right on the nose. And it was over budget, like everything else in this town. The MBTA. Now, the property in which the building sits used to be John Hancock's backyard. And he used to throw parties for his friends up there on his lawn. And I can tell you, from personal experience, John Hancock is a party animal. Every night until 3 o'clock in the morning, this guy can rock and roll all night and party every day. When they repealed the Stamp Act in '66, he invited Boston. And Boston showed up. Wine, rum, music, dancing, fireworks. I didn't get home till around 4 in the morning. I was blind for 3 days. This guy knows how to party, but more of him later. What is of interest to us is the dome. 1798, made of wood. It rotted. Governor said, copper shingles. But there is only one man in Boston who has mastered the art of rolling copper sheet to do a job that big. The only man in Boston who is a mason and a son of liberty and a goldsmith, tinsmith, coppersmith, and silversmith, and his name is Paul Revere. He gets the job because his best friend is the governor, Sam Adams. Sam and Paul are old buddies. They dumped tea back in '73, so naturally Paul gets the contract. So the copper goes on the dome, and there it stays until it turned green, like the Statue of Liberty. It oxidized. That's the word, oxidized. And it was thought, since the building is known as the hub of the solar system, the dome should be covered in gold. So they painted it up with 23.5 karat, and there it stayed until 1942, when all the gold was removed and the dome was painted Battleship Gray. because of the blackout order during the Second World War. The Germans are in their submarines out in the Atlantic. We fear air raids, so we gray that out so the Germans, 30 miles out to sea, can't see it. Last gilded in 1997, about $350,000 worth of 23.5 carat gold leaf vein. Now it is underneath that dome that our legislators work on the issues of our state, our commonwealth. Today is Saturday. They're not in today. But don't worry, because they're not coming in on Monday, they're not coming in on Tuesday, they're not coming in on Wednesday. Because those are all days that end with the word day. So they are not in. They are out of their minds. But this Boston Common is the place where the people come to speak their piece on any issue under the sun. You name it, it has come to Boston Common at one time or another. Whether they're hanging Quakers here in the 17th century, right over there where the playground is. That's where the great hanging tree used to stand, the great elm. And the Puritans would come and string up the Quakers. But then it's the British troops that live here in the 18th century. It's the thousands that gather to abolish slavery in the 19th century and modern civil rights in the 20th century and all points in between. The Freedom Rally, very popular. The Pride Rally, even more popular. Shakespeare on the Common, not popular. But God bless them, they do try every year. Last year they did Macbeth. I wouldn't have gone near that stage. Every actor knows Macbeth is cursed. Although the truth is I auditioned and I didn't get in. It's all right. I'm not bitter. It's their loss. My therapy is going well. Now then, my therapist says I have a problem with revenge. I'll show him. That's a shrink joke. I love that. Now, a few notable people that come to Boston Common would be John Kennedy in 1960. The themes of his speech, liberty and freedom. Martin Luther King in 1965, liberty and freedom. And then in 1990, a man you never heard of, a man by the name of Mikhail Sergeyevich Gorbachev, president of the Soviet Union, a country that doesn't exist anymore. But at the time, it was the biggest, baddest, meanest, ugliest, most horrible dictatorship the world had ever seen. But he came, he spoke, and his themes were liberty and freedom. You sense a pattern forming here. Possibly the most ironic visitor of them all to come to Boston Common is Pope John Paul II, who gave Mass in a pouring rain in 1979 for 400,000 people here. 400,000! Unfathomable. But what's more unfathomable is what the Puritans of old would have said. A Catholic Mass on Puritan Boston Common? The Puritans would have freaked out in a very subdued kind of way, you understand. So what does all this show us? It shows us that after 400 years' existence on the Common, before anybody thought of things like revolution, we have already established the two basic tenets of your American freedom. The right to free speech, the right to free assembly. Put them together, you get the First Amendment of your Constitution. Read your Constitution. Become familiar with your Bill of Rights. So here I am now, speaking freely to you who are freely assembled here on the Common, which makes you the latest link in a chain of humanity which stretches back 400 years to the birthplace of America and American freedom right here on Boston Common. Salute! Recover. That was very good. From here, we go to the Granary Burial Ground, and there meet some of the most august members of your, my, our American Revolution. You applaud right there. Stirring, isn't it? This way.
Okay.
Make sure to like and subscribe, folks.
What are you doing, man?
So this one you want quartered man.
Horace Man.
How do I spell
That's number
that?
one.
Luca.
How do I spell that?
Horace
Horace.
Man.
HORACEMANN.
This might be person I don't.
As we go.
A rolling thing.
Man,
Troy, can you? I meant twice. Can you hold this?
a very horrid
Alright.
man.
Wait, isn't Tanner the cameraman?
No, it's fine.
Are we recording?
Yeah, so what's going on?
Dun 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 dun.
There's a guy named John Hooker.
Okay. That's that.
John Hooker.
I know it's his girlfriend's. John Hooker.
Hey, thank you, Weiss. Good job, Weiss. Horse Man, who else? Is that it?
I think the second one is John Hooker.
Who's the second one?
I think the second
What
one
is
is John Hooker.
Is there?
No, I meant who's the second person? John Hooker. Got
John
Hooker.
I know it's not Hooker.
Emily, can you hold this? Hold
H-O-K-E-R.
this. John Hooker.
I love John Hooker.
Horish Man and John Hooker. Why are those their names?
Emily,
And this.
you'll be my cameraman after you answer the question.
Did I film good though?
Yeah. I don't know. I'll have to watch this after. I'll probably have to sit. I'll probably watch like 4 hours of
Yeah,
video.
when I get home, I'm gonna watch it.
You are?
Yes.
Okay.
I always go on your video to watch it when I get home. If I can.
Go faster. I don't want to get behind.
Okay.
So wait, did you guys get question one? It's Horse Man and John Hooker.
What?
Horse Man and John Hooker
Horse man.
on question one.
Can I have the pen?
And now we wait,
Wait,
but not for long.
we wait. It's John Hooker and
So be prepared, stand by to make the crossing.
okay, got you hear that, guys? Stand by to make the crossing. We're waiting for the red light. We're waiting for the red light to turn white.
British are on the wall.
British are coming.
Yo, we're crossing the Delaware.
Delaware?
I love coming to John Hooker and Joe Horish.
John Ford?
John Horish.
Don't make me.
Exactly.
Okay, follow. Let's go. Let's wait. Okay. Park Street Church. Park Street Church.
Wait, David J. Sargent, he related to you?
Oh my god.
Go. Oh, graveyard, dead people.
Oh, you making a YouTube video?
Yes, I've been. I'm 39 minutes in. It's Parker too. Church.
right, guys, bring it in a little bit over here. All right, that's good. Not that close.
Joseph.
Behold, the Granary Burial Ground. The third oldest burial ground in Boston as of 1660. It's called the Granary because that's what used to stand where the church now is. Big barn full of grain. The Granary. But what you're seeing is not what it looks like in my day. In my time, this is 3 times the size it is right now. And there is no rhyme or reason to burying people here. That's why it's a burial ground and not a cemetery. Wherever you could dig a hole is where you planted the body. Didn't matter where it was. Get him in the ground before he stinks up the town. That's the name of the game. So they're burying them 15 feet deep in here. But of course, and the bodies stacked on top of one another. Not the same family, just bodies. Or they dig a trench and the coffins go in on their ends. You spend eternity waiting in line like this. But of course, it costs money to bury people that deep. So some people cheat and only bury them 2 feet deep in here. Shallow graves. Until they establish what's known as the 6-foot rule. You must bury a body a minimum of 6 foot down. And the man who is credited with the 6-foot rule is the man who would eventually become Commissioner of Sanitation of Boston. And that man was the only man in Boston who is a Mason and a Son of Liberty and a goldsmith, tinsmith, coppersmith, and silversmith, and his name is Paul Revere. You got it. So after 300 years worth of burials here, this place becomes a disaster area because all the cattle that graze on the common graze through here and eat up all the grass, which exposes all the dirt, which then gets turned into mud. The dead begin to rise. In the hard rains that come to New England, in the snow that melts, the water scours the surface of the earth and washes everything up against the railings. So by the middle of the 19th century, you could come to this burial ground and see the flotsam and jetsam of an unkempt, uncared for burial ground leaking out onto Tremont Street. Dogs come pawing through a fresh grave and then run down Tremont Street with an arm or a leg in its mouth, dragging it along. It stinks. It's a health hazard. It's an eyesore. Everything about the burial ground is wrong. So the government came in and cleaned it up by putting all these stones in the rows you now see. But they moved the stones, they did not move the bodies. And if we have learned anything from the first Poltergeist movie, we have learned that if you move the stones and not the bodies, skeletons come up through your swimming pool. Now, for every stone you see, it represents between 6 and 10 bodies. Call it 8 in the middle. There are 2,300 stones. That's almost 20,000 people. That's 20,000 people buried, not 20,000 people here. Because when all the original iterations of these buildings were built, all those graves, hundreds, had to be moved to other burial grounds around Boston. This is all that's left. So be careful where you step, because you never know whose toes you might be stepping on. Literally. Luckily for us, however, we don't have to step on anybody's toes to talk about the first 5 men to die in the American Revolution. In an event the British call, with their understatement, the unfortunate incident perpetrated in King Street. Very nice, very British, very proper. But that's not it. In America, we know this event better as Boston Massacre. The 5 men lie at rest over yonder, underneath that narrow stone. And now, we'll go take a closer look at it. Make a hole.
The 10 guys got shot.
This stone, right over here, denotes the location of the men who died in the Boston Massacre, March 5th, 1770. These 5 guys are dead because of a street fight that went out of control. And it goes like this. There's a kid, a little younger than me, by the name of Edward Garrick. He's a little bit younger than me. He's about 16. A little bit younger than me. About 4 years younger than me. You can see it sort of shows. And he is fighting with a guy named Captain Goldfinch of the British Army over the cost of his wig. This whole thing starts over a wig. Goldfinch and Garrick are in the street. They're arguing it out. They're going back and forth. And all of King Street begins to gather in to hear the fight. So they're going at it back and forth. Here's Private Hugh White on sentry duty, and he's watching. And he figures he'll make this problem go away by making Edward Garrick go away. And then Private White makes the most critical error in judgment in the entire 18 years of his life. He goes up to Edward Garrick, takes up his musket, and gives him a nice hard shove right in the chest, knocking him down. King Street gasped. Can I get a gasp? King Street begins to close in on Private White, who realizes only now he just made the biggest mistake of his life. He is now thrust center stage, and he doesn't want to be there. He's outnumbered 300 to 1. This thing is out of control. He shouts, "Turn out, main guard!" Here come 7 soldiers of the 29th Regiment, led by Captain Thomas Preston, and they push through the crowd, grab Private White, fix bayonets, and start pushing the crowd out into the street. This is when the big guy showed up, Crispus Attucks, an ex-slave from a town called Framingham. This guy is about 6'4" and muscled up. He is built like a brick shipyard is what he's built like. He is enormous, with a club in each hand. But right before he can take a swing, a weird thing happened. There's just this moment. A guy named Richard Palms jumps in. You never hear about this guy ever again. But Richard Palms jumps into this thing, gets up to Captain Preston, and tugs on his sleeve and says, "Captain Preston, are your soldiers' guns loaded?" He says, "With powder and ball." He says, "I hope you do not mean to shoot into the crowd." He says, "By no means. My place is before my men. If I give the command to shoot, I shall be the first to die. I will not give the command to fire." And as soon as he said it, the whole thing exploded. To this day, no one knows to a certainty who fired the first shot. All we know for sure is that Crispus Attucks was the first to die. At 6'4" and 260, impossible to miss, with 2 .75 caliber lead musket balls in him, entering through his chest and exiting out his back. Boston couldn't believe it. Surely the British would not fire projectiles into the crowd. Surely they were just firing off powder to scare everybody away. But then the bodies began to slump over and the blood began to flow. That's when Boston realized the British were playing for keeps. Whether they meant to or not, a line has been crossed, precedent has now been set, and no one knew what to do. Except for one brave guy, not well liked, but credit where credit's due, a brave guy, Governor Thomas Hutchinson. Tommy's Skin and Bones, we call him. He gets up on the balcony of the old State House and shouts, "Boston, return to your homes. Justice shall have its course. I will live and die by the law." He didn't. But John Adams, future President of the United States, the second best attorney in Boston, he will take up the defense for the soldiers on the charges of murder. And he took that case because no one in Boston would go anywhere near it. It was so thoroughly toxic, no lawyer would touch it. Otherwise, had it not been for John Adams, these men would have been doomed. But John Adams alone stood up in the face of violent, popular, political opinion and defended those British soldiers. Brave man, John Adams. So that's the massacre. But you can't talk about the massacre and not talk about the man who made him famous. And that's the man who lies buried next door. Underneath that big old rock is our friend and neighbor. You know him, you love him. We call him Sam Adams. And when I say Sam Adams, what do you think of? How old are you? Not old enough to drink. You're not supposed to know anything about beer. That's bad parenting is what that is. You, hold out your hand. Up a little lower. Stand the same distance from me as I am from you. Stand closer to the ground. Take your time, hurry up. Sharp as a marble. Up, 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 up. Hold out your hand like this. Good. Now then. No, just kidding. Shake on it. Go. Don't touch my rash. My God, where have you been? Now then. Sam Adams never brewed a beer in his life. The malting operation his father gave to him, he ran into the ground. Because the awful truth is, Sam Adams is the most incompetent businessman in Boston. Every single business venture he ever tried failed. But the bar across the street, right there, the Beantown Pub, that is the only place in the whole world where you can go to have a cold Sam Adams while looking at a cold Sam Adams. You can't do that anywhere else in the whole world. And he doesn't care. Money, fame, fashion, fortune, frippery, flummery, flash means nothing to Sam Adams. That's John Hancock. Sam Adams is all about the politics. He is a master organizer of the Sons of Liberty, a master propagandist. And he very quickly sees the capital which can be gained from the massacre. He says these men shall not die in vain. They will become martyrs to our cause. And all we need to tell their story is some artwork, a political cartoon. Sam Adams will tap an artist by the name of Henry Pelham to make us an image of the massacre. Then Sam Adams will tap an engraver and a printer so we can post them all over town. Now there is only one man in Boston who can do a job like that for the Sons of Liberty. The only man in Boston who is a Mason and a Son of Liberty and a goldsmith, tinsmith, coppersmith, and silversmith, and his name is Paul Revere. So between Henry Pelham the painter and Paul Revere the printer, and you have to be sober when you say that, we get this, the best piece of propaganda the revolution ever saw. Have you seen this before? Good. Is this how it happened? No. Propaganda engineered to draw your ire against the British, which it does with great effect. What you notice is what is absent, and that's Crispus Attucks, who is nowhere to be seen here. History has treated Crispus Attucks very unfairly when it comes to this image. But, nil desperandum, undaunted, we shall not let it get us down. Because I say, if it weren't for Sam Adams and the Sons of Liberty, Boston's revolution could never have taken shape. Salute! Recover. That's very good. From here, we go across the way a piece, and I tell you a little bit about my favorite person in Boston. My attorney, who I have on retainer. Because let's face it, if you're going to be a smuggler in Boston, you need three things. A ship, a sword, and legal representation. And I got 3 out of 3. To whom do I refer? A man whose name I shall reveal momentarily. But it is for him the bell tolls. Nice, don't you think? Yeah. It ain't easy. This way. We'll be seeing this in a minute, but I'm going to tell you about him here. So bring it back on over. The man who lies buried underneath that big old rock over there on the other end. That is the grave of my friend, my confidant, my attorney, and my occasional partner in crime back in '66. That is the final resting place of my man, my friend, James Otis. Applaud right there. That is all. No, I'm kidding. I got more. James Otis, the man most famous for having said, taxation without representation is tyranny. That is the cornerstone of the American Revolution, that phrase. James Otis, taxation without representation is tyranny. But what he should be more famous for is something he protested against. Something called the writs of assistance. Boo! Actually, we should say FI. So can I get a FI? FI. The writs are search warrants that allow government officials, backed up by the militia, to come to your house and search it and take an inventory of what you've got. And there's nothing you can do about it. You're just stuck with it. Now raise your hand if you've got a problem with government officials coming into your house.
Yeah.
Right. As a smuggler, I got a big problem. You hear that? Yeah. It rings throughout the ages. James Otis goes before the general court, and he will give a speech that will mesmerize all, defying and decrying these writs of assistance. But it wasn't good enough. The judges didn't think so. He lost the case. And not long thereafter, poor James lost his mind. Today you'd call him mentally ill. Bipolar, almost certainly. Schizophrenic, possibly. He has these violent mood swings and paranoid delusions. And he used to drink to counter-effect his illness, but that just made him drunk and mentally ill. Didn't work. He's also the kind of guy who always has to have the last word. In one respect, that's what makes him the best attorney in Boston. He'll fight for you to the bitterest of ends. But in another way, it makes him uncontrollable. He's a guy who gets into fights. You gotta watch out. Sometimes he has to be babysat. But alas, there was no one to save him that one fine day in the Royal Coffee House down on King Street, when James Otis went in there and started a bar fight with a man named John Richardson, a government official you never heard of before. Just Mr. Nobody. But he gets right into the Royal Coffee House, and James Otis got up into Richardson's face, and Richardson cracked him in the head with his stick and split his head wide open. Left a gash in his head, deep enough that you could lay your entire finger into it. It never healed properly, nor did James Otis, whom, after 1768, went completely insane. He would break out of his house in the dead of night and throw rocks through the State House windows, screaming and raving and cursing and ranting. The man is just gone. He's gone. We gotta get him out of town for his own health and safety. We bound him up hand and foot and put him on a cart because he was raving. And we let him out of town. And as he was being let out, he shouted back, "I shall return like a bolt of lightning."
How you doing? Captain Malcolm. Never wanted to be. How do you think?
The grimmest of all irony, or perhaps a terrible prophecy. Because as he sat on the porch one fine day in 1783, at the ripe old age of 58, a low-flying cloud came over his house, a bolt of lightning came down, and struck James Otis in the head, and killed him. On the spot. And they say it was British lightning that done it.
Yes.
Certainly for all of us who knew and loved him, the death of James Otis was a real shock. Mostly to him. Now, we go on a bit further and talk about the man who lies buried underneath that magnificent obelisk, erected there in 1896 to cover the largely unmarked grave of a man called King, name to be revealed momentarily. This way.
I'm watching your video, it's like you're all over the place.
I just got the best part of it. I got how's the video going? Real good. I got that in the best part of it. I thought you said, what's up, brother? And then he did it.
My man James Otis. Taxation without representation is tyranny. That is James Otis. But from here to the obelisk. No.
That's tyranny.
What's the date? What's the date? What's the date?
I don't want three. I don't want two.
1783.
How do you know that? How do you know that? How do you know these things?
Don't drop anything now. Behold, the grave of the man called John King Hancock Esquire. On the Declaration of Independence, there are 54 signatures. 53 of them are that big. One of them is that big, and that's John Hancock, who's got an ego big enough to match his signature. But he comes by it honest because he is the richest man in Massachusetts. And he made his money the old-fashioned way. He inherited it. About 50,000 pounds. And in your money, that's about $5 million. And $5 million in 1775 is fat cash. And John loves to spend it on all the fine things in this life. He also spends his money on his wife, Dorothy Quincy. Oh, Dorothy Quincy. Yeah, Dorothy Quincy. Sharp, witty, clever, smart, book smart, educated, and could play on the intellectual level of any man in Boston. James Otis, Sam Adams, and so on. She has got it up here. But she's also got it everywhere else. Because she is the most attractive woman in Massachusetts. She was absolutely stunning. Just a knockout. But Dorothy Quincy is no dummy. She made John Hancock wait for 10 years before she'd marry him. 10 years. When the average male life expectancy in my time is about 60, he only lived to be 56. So waiting 10 years is a very dangerous game to play. But it just goes to show you, sometimes the thrill of the chase can make a man's heart go, woo! But John Hancock is more than a persistent lover. President of the Second Continental Congress. It's not enough. What he really wants to do is achieve the highest military rank. But he has no military service whatsoever. So he figures he's going to end run the Continental Congress. He goes to them and says, all right, boys, it's real simple. I'm going to be Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army. And the Congress said, no, you won't. Because, John, the guy who's going to build and lead an army from zero has got to be a guy who's already been in the British Army before and knows how the British fight. So we are going to tap the Virginian, a solid 6'3", bad skin, bad teeth, looks great on the $1 bill. His name is George Washington. You got it. John Hancock said, I defer to expertise. But then he goes to George privately and says, Your Excellency, make me a Major General of the Artillery. What do you say? And George Washington, with all of his southern charm and grace, said no. John Hancock grumbled off. But he'll be back in 1789 for the first presidential election. He says, all right, boys, it's real simple. I'm going to be president of the United States of America. And the Congress said, no, you won't. Because, John, the guy who's going to build and lead this nation must be a man from the South. Because the Southern colonists don't want Harvard-educated New England Yankee like you to represent them. Southern men want a Southern man. So we are going to deliver unto them the man from Virginia. A solid 6'3", bad skin, bad teeth. Looks great on the $1 bill. His name is? George Washington. That was very good. John Hancock was furious and returned to Massachusetts to become governor of the Commonwealth. The big fish in the little pond, just the way he likes it. But then, George Washington himself came to Boston. All of Boston was down at Faneuil Hall to greet the first president, except for one man, the governor himself, who point blank refused to go down the hill to go greet the first president. Absolutely snubbed him. But here's the funny thing. John Hancock named his only male son John George Washington Hancock. So in the end, John was able to forgive, forget, respect, and honor George Washington in the best possible way by naming your son after him. So what did John Hancock learn? He learned you can't always get what you want. No, you can't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, you just might find you get what you need. Musical appreciation, no extra charge. So from here, now that's a really good story, but that's not the truth. The real reason the child is named John George Washington Hancock is because Dorothy and John didn't get along that well together in their marriage. They had a fight. So Dorothy named the child just to make John angry. My kind of woman. Wow. So, thanks to John Hancock's money and Sam Adams' organization and the willingness of these men and women to stand up in the face of tyranny, oppression, and overwhelming odds against the might of the British Empire, we have the rare privilege of being free citizens in a country that is free, that we call America. America. Salute. Recover. From here. Oh, did you get it? No. Excellent. From here, we go up the hill a piece, and we tell you about the most ubiquitous man in Boston. Name to be revealed momentarily. Sam Adams died in 1783. John Hancock died in 1790. Well, don't take me to court on that because I can't read Roman numerals.
Wait, John Hancock?
Right. Am I off by a couple?
That's 1845. John Hancock. That's like, isn't that 1845? Also, John Adams. Yeah, I know you were No, we have another person. Are those dates? Yeah, what did you say? Wait for a minute.
Go.
Still says PSA on the thing, but recently it's
Don't take me to court on that. I'm not entirely sure. Sometimes I get them mixed up. Right, bring it up, Troop. Bring it up. from here, we tell you all about that man called Paul Revere, who is not buried there, or there. He's actually buried over there. But it gets kind of crowded over there, so I'm going to tell you about him here so we can be more comfortable. Paul Revere is more than just the Midnight Rider, even though he went on to write a great song. That's not for you. That's for the older generation. You guys don't get it. It's a boomer joke. Not everybody gets it. You know, jack of all trades and a master of them. As the saying went, if the need is severe, get Paul Revere. This guy can do anything. Master craftsman, master horseman, mason, son of liberty, goldsmith, tinsmith, coppersmith, silversmith. Manufactures bells, cannons, pots and pans, forks and knives, false limbs, and false teeth. He does dentistry on the side when silversmithing is slow. Interesting side note. One of Boston's most beloved men, my surgeon, Dr. Joseph Warren, shot and killed at the Battle of Bunker Hill, took a .50 caliber pistol ball under his left eye. Paul Revere was able to identify the body through the tooth he had wired into his jaw. This is one of your earliest recorded examples of dental forensic identification. Thank you, CSI. George Washington's teeth were made of wood, and we know that because Martha's lips were always full of splinters. So, Paul Revere gets the word on April 18th, 75. The British are gathering at the bottom of Boston Common. Their plan is to go to Lexington to pick up John Hancock and Sam Adams. But the real prize for the British is in Concord. The guns, the ammo, the cannon we're holding up there. Spies on Boston Common watch the British launch. They get the word to Paul Revere. Paul Revere tells a man by the name of Robert Newman. And Robert Newman is the man who hangs the lanterns in Old North Church. Do you guys know this rhyme? Oneth by land, twoeth by sea, I on the opposite shore shall be. How many lanterns are there? 3? That must be the Continental Air Force.
2.
2 lanterns hanging. Paul Revere goes into Charlestown, picks up the fastest horse he can find from his friend Deacon Larkin, a big beautiful mare by the name of Brown Beauty. And Paul Revere rides through every village and town up to Lexington, and what does he say as he go? True.
The British are coming.
No. That is not what he said. Can I get a gasp? Not what he said. It's a popular myth in America, but it is untrue. What Paul Revere actually said was, the regulars are out. The regulars are out. The regular British Army. To differentiate us, the British people, from British troops, called regulars. So you would never say the British are coming, because that wouldn't make any sense. But if you say the regulars are out, you mean the British Army. So let's get moving. So Paul Revere gets up to Jonas Clark's house about 12:30 that night. Tells John and Sam that the regulars are out, and they have got to get out of town before they are captured. Coming from the south, a half an hour later, Major William Dawes, the 2nd Midnight Rider. They set off for Concord, and in the town of Lincoln, they meet up with a good high son of liberty, Dr. Samuel Prescott. He's out visiting his girlfriend at midnight. Lydia Mulligan was her name. She was another one, boy, I'm telling you. So, as soon as the good doctor is done saying goodnight, it's a family show, the 3 of them ride out. Revere runs into a British roadblock, and the British officers guarding it shout, "Stop in the name of the king!" One guy fires off his shot and misses. The other guy's gun, click, fails to go off. Lucky thing for Paul Revere. Paul Revere shouts back, "Put on, spur your horse and get away." Sam Prescott jumps the fence, escapes the British, and completes the midnight ride of Paul Revere. William Dawes goes the other way, and heroically, dramatically, with adroitness, fell off his horse, which then ran away. He's gone. Leaving Paul Revere, heading for the tree line. And as soon as he got there, up out of the trees, pop up 6 more British officers with pistols drawn. They got the drop on Paul Revere. He is captured, and the midnight ride is over. But the exciting conclusion of the story right after this important break. And we're back. When we last left Paul Revere, He was standing in a pasture with his hands up. And here comes big old Major Mitchell, the British Army. 300 pounds, this guy. Think of his horse. He gets up on Paul Revere, pulls his pistol, and puts it to his head, and says, "You, sir, are in a very critical situation." Classic British understatement. "I'm going to ask you some questions. And if you do not tell me the truth, by God, sir, I will blow your brains out. I crave your name." He says, "My name is Revere." He says, "You are not Paul Revere." Says, "I am Paul Revere. Represent, and you're too late. I've already alarmed the whole country all the way up. 500 militiamen are mustering on the green right now, and they are waiting for you." Major Mitchell figures Revere is lying. There is no way in his mind these provincials could actually muster 500 guys to take on the might of the British Army. Impossible. But then, just before Major Mitchell took Paul Revere into custody, a volley of musket fire goes off on the green, scaring Major Mitchell into believing there really are 500 militiamen out there. So him and his men saddle up and ride out to check it out, leaving Paul Revere standing all by himself on the road. The British just let him go. Little known side fact, the British confiscated his horse, Brown Beauty, which makes Brown Beauty the horse the very first prisoner of war of the American Revolution. True story. Paul Revere says, "See ya," over the fence, through the woods, through the swamp, through the burial ground, through the hedge, comes to Lexington Green and watches history unfold before him. The militia come piling out of the tavern. Where else? Loading up the guns, getting into line, ready. And there they are. And you all look. 500 of the King's best grenadiers and light infantry, the elite of the British Army, versus 70 farmers, artisans, craftsmen, farmers, guys never fired a shot in anger. But their captain, John Parker, 46 years old, French and Indian War vet, he will lead the way by standing firm his ground and shouting, "Stand your ground, hold your fire. Do not fire unless fired upon. But if they want a war, let it begin here." Somebody out there fired the first shot. And in America, that's known as the shot heard around the world. And the rest, as they say, is history. So from here, we're going to go over there and see the grave that is marked Paul Revere. This way.
I think I know the quote. I'm trying to pay attention. What's the one that you got before? Come on. You missed it.
Are you stopping that?
No, no.
Why?
What did you do? Both sides we only fire when you see the white.
That's my question.
Yes, it is.
It's alright.
He made engravings. There's a famous one he did of the Boston.
It's a good part of it. The regulars are
And so, my people, true. This, the final resting place of the man, the myth, the legend, the mystery, Mr. Paul Revere. He died at the age of 84. He hung in there. Died May 1818. 84 years old. He hung in. He did really well. I only made it to 44, so I felt kind of robbed. I asked Revere how he did it later. I said, "Revere, how'd you live so long?" And he just said to me, "Malcolm, clean living." He certainly didn't have time to get into trouble because he had 16 children. 8 by Sarah Orrin Revere, died giving birth to the 8th child. She's buried over there. And then 3 months later, he marries Rachel Walker, and they have 8 more. No more than 12 survive to adulthood, however. This is the approximate location of Paul Revere's burial site. No one's exactly sure if Paul Revere is buried here and here. What we have been told is that Paul and Rachel and a few of the kids are buried here in this vicinity. But it's also been speculated that members of the Revere family are buried right here underneath this very patio. And this very patio was built in 1968 by a very famous local Irish builder by the name of Paddy O'Doors and his younger brother, Paddy O'Furniture. And then, of course, their best friend, Sean DeLear, who didn't do anything but hang around. So, we're not going to talk about that. Instead, we exit the burial ground and continue on our way down the Freedom Trail. Truth, with me.
Fish.
Because you could. Bryce, I want his sword. You still. Lucas, can I have his sword? $60. Can I rip off my sword? Yeah. Without your sword. Okay. I have no answers. Can I whip out my whip? You're gonna have to buy the answers from people.
Zero.
You just said it. I'm gonna buy a sword in battle. Yes. I'm gonna buy a musket. Are you gonna team up with me? Only if you team up with me. Will you team up with me? Yay! And we're gonna fight him. Right here.
Okay. Okay. Can you please wait? Can you hold this in a second?
You're gonna come up fight.